Hello friends, my name is Ramasu. Today we shall discuss about the topic risk mitigation strategy. Friend, let me tell you that if you are a student and planning to give exam of PMP, so this is a very important topic and you will see this topic in the exam of PMP. Secondly, if you are a professional project manager and working in any organization as a project manager, so again this is an important topic for you to understand and use the strategies for risk mitigation in your projects as well. So let's start. First of all, I would request to please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell option as well so that my new videos can reach to you. So let's start, friend. Risk mitigation strategy. Friend, if you just see the term risk mitigation strategies, so basically we are referring to the strategy or approach that how we can low down the risk which are occurring in a project. Friend, whenever we are working in any organization and we are dealing with projects, so we have, as a project manager, you have to see lots of risk. You have to identify so many risks, and like for example, if there are, for example, 50 risks are there, you have identified 50 risks in a project. So either whether it is a right or a correct approach that you should have to do the risk mitigation approach for all those risks which you have identified, or what you can do, like you have to do the planning for only those risks which are very important, very high impact, or probability is very high. So what is the right approach whenever we are dealing with within a project? Because see, obviously whenever we have to do the planning for the risk, that how we can mitigate it, how we can low down, how we can manage the risk, so obviously it will require funds, it requires money, it requires time as well. So we have to understand that what are, first of all we have to identify the risk, and then we have to identify that which risk we have to deal with it, which risk we can have to avoid it. Okay, so basically risk mitigation approach, a strategy says that first of all we have to identify the list of risks which can occur in a project. Then we have to make some strategy that how we are going to deal with those risks actually. Here let me tell you that risk in a project is basically uncertain condition in a project that can occur or may not occur, and it can positively or negatively impact the project. Okay, so this is the basic definition of a risk. Now the risk mitigation approaches or strategy, we have mainly we have around four approaches are there. First approach is the risk acceptance. If you just see the risk acceptance means, friend, acceptance approach or strategy says that you have identified, for example, one risk in a project. Now you know that the impact of a risk is very low, and you know that it is a very small risk. Okay, so what you can do, like you will accept the risk. Okay, so this is the best strategy when risk is small or unlikely to happen. Okay, so that is called as the approach of risk acceptance. Risk acceptance means that you will accept the risk, you will take the risk. Okay, like for example, you are implementing a e-commerce solution and you know that there is a risk, but risk likelihood or risk impact is very low. So due to that reason you will accept the risk. Risk acceptance means that you will accept the risk, you will take the risk. Then the other approach or strategy is risk avoidance. Risk avoidance means that if a risk from starting a project, launching a product, moving your business is too large to accept, it may be better to avoid it. In this case, risk avoidance means not performing that activity that causes the risk. Managing risk in this way is most likely like how people address personal risk. While some people are more risk loving and others are more risk aversive, everyone has a tipping point at which things become just too risky and not worth attempting. So that means risk avoidance means, friend, like you know that there is a risk in particular activity, like you will perform that activity, so there are chances that you will have to face the risk, or you have to face some consequences on that. So what you can do, like you will avoid that risk. Let me give you a very simple example here. For example, you are preparing for the PMP exam, and you know that there are chances that you may clear the exam or you may not clear the exam. So what is the risk avoidance? That you will not give the exam of PMP. So this is a very simple example of risk avoidance, that if you know that there is some risk, so you will avoid that particular event, or you will avoid that particular activity. Then risk reduction. Reduction means the business can assign a level at which risk is acceptable, which is called the residual risk level. Risk reduction is the most common strategy because there is usually a way to at least reduce risk. It involves taking countermeasures to decrease the impact of consequences. For example, one form of risk reduction is risk transfer, like that of buying insurance. For example, that risk acceptance level is defined. For example, you can say that, let's suppose there is for example, you are working for any project, and you can say that if project delayed for 1 day, so it is acceptable, but if project is delayed more than 1 day, so it is not acceptable. Let me give a very simple example here. So risk reduction concept is that we define the level of risk acceptance. So this is called as risk reduction. The other topic is important concept is risk transfer. Risk transfer means that you transfer the responsibility to someone else. If you just see the term here, risk transfer, so what you do, like for example, you know, you are implementing an e-commerce solution, take the same example, and you know that you have are lacking in the expertise. So what you can do, you can outsource the work to some other company. Okay. Or similarly, you you can do the insurance. You can take for example, you have a chances that a car can be theft, so you take a car insurance. So this is another example of risk transfer, that you transfer the risk to someone else. Actually, if you just see the term transfer, that you are transferring to some other person risk. Okay. Then how to determine risk mitigation? There are many. First approach is that understand the user and their needs. This is very important, that first of all you have to understand the user and their wants, actually what he wants. Actually seek the experts and use them, like talk to the expert technical leads and try to understand the risk here. Recognize risks that occur. That first of all, identification of risk is very important. You have to understand that that particular risk can occur in a project. Then encourage risk taking. Encourage consideration of mitigation option. That means you have to identify that what are the options are available to mitigate those risks. And then not all risks are require a mitigation plan. This is very important point. This is not necessary that if you have identified 10 risks, so you have to do the mitigation planning for 10 risks as well. You can do the planning for 4 to 5 risks, and then other can do it later. So friend, thanks a lot for watching the video. I hope you like this video. If you like, please share it with your friends and colleagues, and thanks for watching the video. Thank you.